welcome to Origins by the Esports Awards, where we talk to some of your favorite esports talent, hosts, creators, and all the people that make the cogs turn in esports. I'm your host, Morgan Tremaine, and today I'm joined by someone that everyone in the Siege community will recognize, and to my knowledge, the only person who has an Esports Awards tattoo. Of course, I am talking about the awesome JessGOAT. How you doing?
No, we are not dropping lore like that immediately.
We are,
I got the long pants on for a reason, and now you've outed me. I'm doing very well. How are you?
I like to think that there's someone else. There's someone else who just has
Please,
it.
someone comment that you also have one. I can't be the only one in the world.
Yeah, there's like a butt tattoo or like on the head, like behind the hair. There's something.
Mine's not on the butt. I want that. No, mine's not on the butt.
That's fair. That is true. That's important to add to the lore since we're dipping into it. How's your Esports World Cup so far?
I love Riyadh. I'm a big food, coffee girl. I love shawarma. I love Spanish latte. So for me, every time I come, I'm just thinking about that. I'm kidding. I love the games as well, obviously. Big for me was watching chess, and that chess wasn't on at the same time I'm working my games, because that event was awesome.
Yeah, the response to that event, more than I think anything else, it's been like, this is how you should do it. This is the right format. Everything was right about it. This is what esports chess should be. This is what chess live should be. Yeah.
I'm live streaming Siege, and I'm having to alt tab to watch the games middle of stream so that I don't miss out on anything live. It was so good. Genuinely one of the best additions to EWC.
So how has this differed from your previous experiences?
I think every year they understand, and as every event should, fundamentally what needs to improve, maybe what needs to change here and there. I'm not walking as far throughout the boulevard to get from one place to another.
That's not nothing.
And that's the thing. Quality of life things for me have risen exponentially since last year. I don't have a lot of complaints almost at all, except if my talent managers could get me the golf buggy. I would love my own golf buggy. I don't have one. Everyone else, the players have one. I don't. I would love one. That's it.
Buggy would be great. We've been using the scooters to get around. It's wonderful. It is wonderful.
Even a scooter would go so well. One or the other, I'm happy.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Okay, so this is Origins. So we're all about your origin story, how you got into gaming, esports. So we'll go back to the very, very beginning. What is your very first gaming memory?
It would be a demo disc on the PlayStation 1 or 2 or whatever it is.
I miss demo discs.
Demo discs were crazy, and I would play this demo over and over again. It was kind of like a hoverboard game. Who knows what it's called?
This is ringing a bell, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Because no one has ever known what I've ever spoken about, but it was from a demo disc from a cereal box or something.
See, I'm all about those. I love the discs in the back of a magazine. That was it. That was treasure.
And it didn't go for long, but I played it over and over again. It was very good for its time, and that was my first memory. So
when did you get into competitive gaming? Like what was your journey into that? Because everyone has a tipping point where it's like, okay, now it's esports.
Yeah.
What was that?
It was a bit accidental. Like most of my esports career has all been accidental. I was finishing my bachelor degree in criminology. And
criminology.
I'm a criminologist by trade.
Oh, wow.
Before esports, I was a criminologist, and I didn't have a lot of money. I was very young. I went to university when I was 17, so you couldn't drink. I was making minimum wage, and all I could afford was a console and this little secondhand TV that I had. So when I wasn't university or working, I was playing video games, and I got good enough to join a very low-level Call of Duty competitive scene. It was very, very competitive in Australia back then because you weren't making money. So it was all about ego, and not a lot of progression goes from there. So it was pretty much all about ego. And I learned a lot about esports from that way, from the mentality side, especially being a woman in esports. You have to put on your armor immediately. And if you're not prepared to, you won't make it.
Oh, yeah, it's a different beast entirely.
It's a different beast. So I started there. I was a console maniac, and then I moved my way into another game because I did join a team. And if any of you ever watched this and you were on my team back then, please reach out. I've lost all of your contacts, and I would love to speak to you guys. They moved to another game, and I hated it. I was rigid. I was stubborn. We could play Call of Duty forever. They release one why would we not just stay in our game? We're doing good. We're progressing well. We're winning tournaments. Like, Search and Destroy was our pinnacle. Like, we were good at what we did. And they said, no, there's another game that's full-time Search and Destroy. And I was like, that sounds great, but it's not Call of Duty. And I was rigid. I was the last one to move. And so we moved, or they moved. I didn't move. I got a second hand and I moved over and I became addicted.
Well, COD can have that kind of cult-like
That was me.
feel to
Oh,
it.
that was
So
me.
yeah.
That was
Yeah,
me.
you can be very much ride or die COD and nothing else, but yeah.
I hate to say that was me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then what was the next step for you? How did you go from playing, competing
Mhm.
at that level to behind the desk?
So I moved over to Siege, and not long since I'd moved over, they'd moved Pro League from console to PC. And I just finished my bachelor degree. I was running a private tuition business just after my bachelor, teaching college students and high school students psychology, English, etc. And I had enough money to buy a pretty bad PC, but it was a PC nonetheless.
PC is a PC.
A PC is a PC. It did run Siege enough. And so I was moving over there because I wanted to still play competitively, but I also wanted to fill my time when I wasn't, because I decided to go into my master's and eventually my PhD and whatnot. So it was a natural progression that I do that. So I got into my master's degree. I started competitive playing, and for the long story short, I qualified for semi-professional league, but I didn't have enough time to scrim as much as we needed. So I moved to the substitute position because as a captain, you need to make those hard calls. And it's not like I wanted that to be my life anyway. So it was okay for me to step back. So I stepped back. I got a job at a university near the end of my master's teaching criminology, law, and border policy. And I was teaching at the university. I was hyped up. I was like, my future's big and my bright. I'm going to be the youngest one at the law faculty teaching. It's going to be so cool. And then I jokingly, a lot of people know this story. I jokingly applied for a coaching role in one of the famous organizations in Rainbow Six in Europe. They were putting up an analyst position. I was like, I know this game like the back of my hand. I teach for a living. Like,
Makes
I
sense.
could do it, right?
Yeah.
I could do it. And esports isn't very big in Australia, especially back then. So I didn't realize how much money and how big it was and how serious it was. So I applied and they reached out and they said, could you do this report on this team and do like an analysis and a counter thing? And I was like, yeah. And I busted through, 3,000 words in one day, because those who go to university know you're just used to tapping away until it's all done. So for me, it wasn't difficult. And now I think back on it, that was a big report that I did actually. They reach out again. The boys like what they saw. Could you do one more on a more specific match we have coming up? And I'm like, okay. So I do it.
Yeah, no
and
problem.
Then they go, when can you be in Germany? And I don't know what I expected to happen. I was young, I was naive, I was stupid, obviously. If you're going through a trial, there is a possibility you get the job and you're required to be where the job is, right? And my partner at the time was Swiss. And so I turned and I said, shall we just move to Switzerland? I mean, I'll always have my degrees. I can always come back to the university. I spend a year or two coaching and we'll come back.
Yeah, it'd be like just a chapter.
It'll just
Could
be
just
a
chapter
small,
and
not even a chapter, maybe a couple of paragraphs inside a chapter, and then we come back. I didn't come back, and it wasn't a small chapter. It could be a whole book at this point. So yeah, I moved over and I became a world championship level coach.
Well, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I want to back up just for a second, because the criminology, I'm realizing that I think a lot of desk analysts in particular, it's like there's some transferable skills. There's a lot of people who are very, very learned in other areas. And I think a lot of those skills are transferable. It's like this doing your homework, looking at it from an analytical standpoint. You feel like that's helped you in your gig?
It just felt like everything to me when I'm working the desk is easier, because I know it seems silly, but I know how to touch type. I can watch a whole game and I don't have to look at my screen once, and I've typed everything that's happened. You're used to micro and macro analyzing everything. You know, what's important from this, what's important from that, what do I not even need to care about? And I think all of those skills transferred over really seamlessly for me. And I don't think it necessarily makes me more apt at the role than maybe someone else who wasn't from that sort of background. But I think quality of life wise, I can do what someone else does in 3 hours and 30 minutes. And you
have those tools,
you start to get a lot more done and a lot more efficient, which in esports efficiency can be very key.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so now we'll go back to where we are in this tale. So you're coaching.
I'm coaching.
You're coaching.
Fell into the role. Wasn't meant to be there. Moved over to Europe. Realized at that point how big esports was. And that's a bit of a culture shock coming from Australia because it's a hobby. It's not a real thing where you make real money.
Yeah,
and
it's so different regionally. Yeah.
So different. And mind you, this was back in 2018 where money wasn't big. I'm not really talking about now. If you're like, oh, it's still big in Australia. Back then, it really wasn't. These days, I'm sure there is a lot more into it. But I do a year with the team. You know, we make world champs, we make events. I'm streaming at the same time because I'm very vividly aware of the need to have social media and presence and have a brand and all of those types of things. So I'm really working on all the areas. I'm working 7 days a week. I am slammed. If I'm not coaching, analyzing, or VOD reviewing, I'm streaming. And then I'm sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night and I do it again. 7 days a week. I'm living in the gaming house in Germany. I live and breathe it for over a year. And then Samsung Italy reaches out and goes, would you move to Italy and coach our team there? And at this point,
Wow.
I'd already done a couple of Siege events on the analyst desk. And for those women wondering how I got on the analyst desk from coaching, I essentially made a huff and puff on Twitter about the fact that there was never a woman on a Siege broadcast ever before. And I was very unliked on Twitter, as per usual, for saying that, because I said, you should just put me on there because it makes so much sense. I'm a coach. I've played the game. That's the kind of people you should want on the desk. And you get a woman. You get good representation that you haven't had before. Well, just because you're a woman and stuff, I said, no, my resume should speak for itself. And I shouldn't have to put that out there.
At this point, your resume is pretty good. Yeah.
And so there was a big kerfuffle about it. I want to shout out to John from the UK community. He works elsewhere now, but he turned around and he emailed me immediately. He goes, you're right. Get on the desk. Fly over. Let's get you on the desk. And that was my first ever proper desk. I cast a women's CS around the world and stuff like that, but never a broadcast of that level. And I did it. And from then on, Ubisoft was like, we see the vision. Let's roll with it. And then I moved to Italy, was doing a bit of both at the same time. And then I went full-time pretty well into talent work after I'd coached the Italian team. That was fun living there. It was a lower tier team and they just wanted to make LAN finals. We got there and thank you very much. Good contract. See you later. So
that's amazing.
It was amazing.
So now obviously Twitter was kind of maybe a different place. I think it maybe has gotten worse. Would you recommend that path now?
If there is a broadcast in the world that hasn't had a woman on their broadcast, I would be shocked.
At this point,
that would be really shocking. I will say some broadcasters are regressing, and there are women and minority people who are available and knowledgeable enough to fill those. It's not like I'm telling you to have that diversity checkbox. I don't want that. I just think that there are people who are capable that you're overlooking unnecessarily. So I would say reach out to the right people, send the right emails, have a good VOD to send. Please don't just reach out. They want to see your work. Please put together a video reel at the very least of you doing it. And if you don't have it, guess what you can do? Turn on a camera, open up a VOD of a game that has no casting on it, a clean feed, and cast over it and pretend you did that.
It's the easiest thing to practice.
It's so easy.
And there's so many people who are good at it, and you can figure out what is this rhythm? How are they approaching this from what kind of standpoint? Yes. It's something that is very learnable.
Oh,
very
super
coachable.
Learnable. And especially if you're quite charismatic, there is nothing stopping you. I got some voice coaching because I was unhappy with my accent being Australian. This is not my real accent that I speak with.
Interesting. You had to mellow it down for the Westerners.
When I speak with my family, I go, yeah, how you going like this? Like we speak like this. But I couldn't speak that way, obviously, on broadcast because I'm not understandable. So get some voice coaching, do whatever you need to do. And honestly, it paid off a lot for me. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think it is about Siege? Because it has had an amazing longevity as a game, as an esport, and without really reinventing itself too much. It is, I think maybe you'd agree, it's kind of the same game it has been in many ways in a core sense.
I got a shout out to Ubisoft, honestly, because whilst the original developers aren't necessarily there, the ones that really made Siege what it is, and I will shout out to them, they made my life what it is now, of course. There's nothing like Siege. We always say this, it's FPS chess. Name an FPS chess that has a higher skill ceiling than Siege, you'll never find it. The depth of the gameplay and whatnot. So I think probably what Ubisoft found was a bit of a gem in the FPS world that was done in Call of Duty, which is how I sort of shifted over, but wasn't a focal point of the game. And many of us wanted it to be our focal point because comp in Call of Duty was 3 different game types, and sometimes it would rotate and whatnot. I hated 2 of the game types. I loved Search and Destroy, but I hated the other game types.
I'm a big S&D person too. Yeah,
but
I get it.
S&D was like my jam. And to go to a game where that's your jam every round, every hour, they hit the nail on the head. And so I think it was an audience of us that wanted to be a little bit more tactical, wanted to still play a first-person shooter, but wanted this real, reliable, same every round, but change the dynamics around it. So I think Siege is almost like the League of Legends of the FPS world in that there's so much depth, so much to learn about all the items and characters and abilities and whatnot. And when you get really good at it, it's very, very satisfying.
I think there's also, maybe you'd agree with this, there's sort of an accessibility to it because it's such a good narrative of S&T.
Oh, yeah. If you can't understand, they explain it really well when you load in. If you can't understand that little room there, you plant the diffuser, and if you're a defender, you diffuse that diffuser, and that's it. And I think that's so accessible for everyone to understand. A 5v5, there's my teammate, there's the opponent, the fastest TTK of any FPS as well. If I shoot head, I kill. I'm great. That's fantastic. That's so accessible. And then the skill ceiling starts to rapidly incline from there. But that little entrance, you're right. I think there is that really easy accessibility for the community. And that's probably why some of the biggest streamers in the world, like Jinxie, they have come from Siege, because you just need that little, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense, and they'll play it.
Yeah, it's easy to get in, very difficult to master, like deceptively simple.
Deceptively, yeah. Deceptively.
Is there a moment in your Siege career or your career in general that really stands out as like, this is peak moment for me, other than winning an Esports Award, which we'll get to?
When Riot reached out to me, I was really surprised actually, because they wanted me to work Game Changers. And I wasn't surprised that they wanted me to work Game Changers. I was more surprised by my career progression with Riot. After that, very quickly rose. And so I worked Game Changers. I love learning new things. I'm a bit of a sponge in that regard. So learning Valorant, 5v5, but different abilities, one I wasn't that difficult for me. So I went and learned it, and I tried to really engulf myself in it. But I was working 2 games, tier 1, full time. So that was very difficult. And I didn't realize that Riot was just going to essentially take me out of Game Changers and put me on every single grand finals, every world champion, every event. I was the only analyst that worked that many events ever.
Wow.
In their entire ecosystem, that many events, that I was the only one at that time that was running that, whilst also working Rainbow Six. And so I was like, that's great trust. Thank you so much. I'm working really hard, but I also have no life, and mental health, very important, guys, to make sure you put time in to think about yourself. But that working both of those at the same time, I'm sure you guys have my list of I think tournaments cast. And if you put Siege and Valorant together for that 1.5 year period, I think I have the world record for most desks worked of a tier 1 English analyst.
That's wild.
Never again.
That's quite an achievement. Well, I mean, you talk about mental health too. It is when it's a job like this, anything that's freelancing in general, it's when you don't know when the next job is, it's very easy to get yourself underwater with, I have to say yes to everything.
Yep. Yeah. And I did. I was a yes girl.
I mean, there's
a lot of value in that. There's a lot
of value in that.
I loved it. I couldn't do it now, but back then I was definitely built for it. I was ready to go. So that was probably the peak, was I'm at the World Championships for this game, and then I'm at the World Championships for this game. And I feel like I'm at the peak knowledge of FPS that currently exists. You could have put me, last year I worked Fortnite here at EWC. You could have put me in any FPS, given me a week to smash 8-hour VODs a day, and I would be ready to go.
Because you've got that mindset. You know how to study, how to put in that work,
what I
understand it. You can make very good use of your time in jumping into it.
And I love it. And when it's your passion, you just feel like the sponge becomes ever soaking, and that's what I got to have. So yeah.
Is there any game that you have not cast yet or not had a chance to be on the desk yet that you'd like to?
I honestly, I would love to go back to my Call of Duty roots, because I think they have gone in directions that I like, and they have removed game modes that I didn't like necessarily. Yep. I think I would do well back in Call of Duty, but I have no desire to sort of push myself into an already very competitive area of talent work.
That it is, yes.
So that's a tricky one. You never want to step on toes and whatnot. And sometimes it does feel like that when you're a multi-game talent, because there's not a lot of multi-game talent. So when you become one, it's like you've picked the 4-leaf clover and you're like, yes, I got it. So yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're in a good position.
Great position.
Speaking of being in a great position.
Okay.
You won an Esports Award in 2022 as Desk Analyst of the Year. Can you tell me where you were when you won that?
I was in bed in Sao Paulo. Because
a good place to be.
A good place to be. I was working an event for Red Bull, one of the best events I'd ever worked. And I had mixed up the time zones, which happens when you're traveling the world a lot. You don't always pay attention to the time zone you should. I was thinking of European time zone. Obviously, the awards were held in American time zones. I got really mixed up, and I thought the awards were like the next day. So I had mixed it up. And I also wasn't sure if I would win as well. There was a really strong category that year. Desk analyst work was reaching a pinnacle of this is a serious, not a break filler kind of thing. Everyone's putting in 110%, and analysts from all games of all genres are trying to be the best. So I was in bed, and the best part of the story, shout out to Intero, and I get 2 calls and a text, and he goes, "Wake up, you won, idiot." And I like open my phone like, what? What's going on? Wake up, you won. And my agents just spamming me because my agents were there and whatnot, and they're spamming me. Oh my God, let's go, let's go. And I have no idea what's going on. I'm not fully lucid. I had no idea. I'm reading all these messages and reading in Teros, it did hit me because he goes, "You won, you idiot. Like, wake up. Like, what's going on?" And I put my phone down and I realized what that meant. And I'm trying to check on Twitter and everything like that. And there's all the tags for JessGOAT and whatnot. And I stand up. I'm on like the 28th level or whatever it was of this hotel. It was like a movie. It was a movie scene. You had to have been there. I promise you. And I stand up at the window. All the blinds are open. It's Sao Paulo. So it's, concrete jungle of lights everywhere. I put both my hands and I just cry. Put both my hands on the window and I cried. Like profusely cried, probably because I felt like I had spent I don't know how many desks, God, if we count it, it's too much, of time proving to myself that I knew what I was talking about and that I didn't need to overwork myself to know what I was talking about and to prove to others in the community and whatnot. And all I wanted to do was share my love of the game and my passion and bring in hopefully casual viewers to learn and love the game like I loved it. And I just cried because it was relief. It was like, you'd done it. You proved it to yourself, because that award was proving it to me. I don't think it was proving it to anyone else. I think I needed that to tell me, you did it. Now take your foot off the accelerator or you'll never take it off the accelerator. And I just let it out. Just cried like a baby. Never forget.
Good validation.
Oh, it really helped me. Yeah, it's what I needed.
Do you feel like because of that, you hit that kind of period of like, okay, I now have this sense of validation and I can like, it was more for yourself, like you said. 100%. Do you feel like that actually kind of helped you with your work-life balance a little bit? Have you ultimately balanced it a little bit? It's
so funny you say that. I didn't work a full-time broadcast again after that.
Oh, really?
I was like, I beat the boss. You know, in a video game, you beat the boss.
Your final boss.
That was my final boss. And I will never forget it. I called my partner at the time and I said, I did it and I'm done. I'll never forget. I did it and I'm done. And I said, I'm not doing it ever again. Okay, obviously I did it again, right? But I'm sitting here. But I'm never doing it at the degree at which I did. It was unhealthy. I never did it in moderation the way I should have. But God, did it feel freaking good to beat that boss. And I went, I did it all. Everything you could do in that video game, I did it all.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That was awesome. And we'd love to see you with more esports awards. Definitely.
No plans to ever sort of go back full time, I will say. Sure. It's very competitive and I have gotten to a good place mentally and emotionally where I want to feel like I'm nice to others, not competing with them. Mm-hmm. And so that can be a tough thing to balance for me, I think, when you're so competitive.
Well, it's a privileged position now. You're like, I can, I did that already.
I did that,
so I'm good.
And I'm happy. And now it's someone else's turn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So we already kind of cracked the seal on this one.
Yeah.
the tattoo. Talk me, how long after you won did you get it? What was the mentality there?
Not.
I think it's pretty big. It's a solid tattoo. You don't have to flash it.
I know we're gonna have to pull it out because that's just what you're gonna have to do. I had my arms already done. And on the right side, I had the Himalayas. In 2010, I climbed the Himalayas, and it was a really difficult thing that I did. And I wanted to always remind myself nothing's as difficult as that damn mountain that I freaking had to climb, and I never do it again. So I was like, I got that, and a lot of Japanese stuff on my left because I lived in Japan. And then on my left leg, I had a lot of anime things, but my right leg was bare. And I was like, ooh, that's not symmetrical. I was like, that's kind of weird. So let's start something on the right leg. And I thought I'll just do a patchwork of like cool things I love in my life, or things that mean things to me, right? Because it's all sort of meaning around the body tattoo wise. So I got the diffuser from Black Ops from my first ever competitive days. I got that on there.
Love it.
I got plane tickets. I got my brothers forced me to get a starter Pokemon. I have two brothers and they had to pick the other two and I had to pick one.
Which ones?
I chose Charmander.
Sure.
Which is fine. And they got Bulbasaur and whatnot and Squirtle. And the Esports Award for me was that moment, like I said, like I felt like I'd beaten all the bosses of gaming and this career, and I never intended to be in this career, but now that I've done it, I can walk away and I feel really satisfied. And so I got a tattoo of a hand holding up an Esports Award on my leg.
I love it.
Yeah.
You realize we can't redesign the trophy now.
You literally, please don't. Although if you do, it's kind of like then I have a rare version. So I'm not against it.
All right, that's fair. Well, we at least changed the color a little bit.
Well, yeah, mine's just in a grayscale, so it won't matter what color
fine.
you do. That's fine. Right. Yes.
But I'm definitely keeping that in mind. It's like we can't do that.
Yeah, like you'll get an angry email from me one day and you'll be like, that's just inappropriate, guys. It's unfair.
Yeah, it's like I have to update this now. Can you at least build on top of it? Something that a tattoo artist could easily change. Okay, so looking ahead, would you consider like mentoring, content production, stepping into a leadership role behind the camera? Like what is next for you? I know you've sort of slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
But what is next? What is the next level, or what is a lateral move? What do you want to do?
My partner wants to be in the sun a bit more. I don't disagree. I've been fishing and camping a lot. I've been streaming my fishing and camping trips and everything. Get outside more, be more healthy. And in the winter in Europe, that's rather impossible. But I do come from a country where winter is not so harsh. And my partner loves that country dearly. So there have been talks about selling our houses and possibly relocating back to Australia and warmer climate. There's a lot of demand for criminologists in my country in lots of different roles. And we actually have a pay scale of 30% beyond European pay scales.
Really?
So the average quality of life
that's good.
is quite a lot higher for the same role, especially as a criminologist. So it's not about money for me. I'm very lucky. I saved so much during COVID and working 2 games. I had no time to spend any money. And it was COVID, so what were you going to spend it on? So I saved it all up. I bought a house. I have no debt. So I kind of can just pick what I want to do. And as long as I like it, I think that's most important. So maybe back to criminology.
Oh, I'm jealous. You have there's so many doors open to you.
I feel like
you're in such a good position.
It's like a Squid Game. They're like, pick a door. And I'm like, I can pick a door if I want. I don't have to pick a door if I don't want to.
You don't meet a lot of people in this industry that have it together.
I'm so you don't understand how blessed I feel.
No offense to anybody, because I think everyone else in this room falls in that category as well. But yeah, that's
I'm so blessed. I do want to say to everyone, I understand my privileged position that I've been put in as a result of gaming. You know, like I said, paid off all my debt. Shout out to Riot, shout out to Ubisoft. They always paid fair fees to me. They always treated me well. Red Bull as well. All those who I worked in between. You set my life up how it is. Like, I'm so happy. I'm so blessed. So whatever I pick next is for happiness and to keep the partner happy, because a happy partner means a happy life too. So
too true. Yes.
Too true. So maybe criminology. Maybe back on, I used to be in the military part-time as well during my degrees. So I was poor. I needed money.
Yeah,
so
you've had some interesting chapters. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I would like to put, the gun back in the holster kind of thing and do something in that regard. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'm still thinking, but this episode's being recorded as conversations with my partner and I are going down. Like tonight, sending real estate posts to me about possibilities. So Speak to me in a month or two, and it's
Okay.
probably locked down then.
All right, just invite us down. We'll come check it out. Yeah.
Please visit anyone. I'm always open.
Okay, so let's get into some rapid fire.
God.
Dream desk, casting duo, or counterpart?
Whoa. What? This is not rapid if I'm not rapid. I'm paid to talk, or I was. I can't even think of anyone. Why can I not think of anyone?
Well, who's been your favorite?
To watch? Probably Machine.
Really?
Yeah. I think that would balance my nerdiness well. Yeah.
That's fair. That's a good way to approach it, actually. All right. Favorite storyline you've analyzed in either Siege or Valorant?
Probably Team Empire, Mexico Major, alongside Michael Kickstar Stockley, who was also into that storyline as well and let me nerd out in the back room about it for way longer than I probably should have.
We're all nerds here. You're in a safe space.
Yeah.
A habit that helped you stay grounded outside of esports?
Please touch grass. It is not a meme. It actually is a true thing. Go touch grass. It helped me so much. So that, yes.
Yeah. We're animals that need sun and grass, and we need to be
outside. Turns out, yeah.
One word to describe the Siege or Valorant analyst community?
Hardcore. Siege, hardcore. Yeah.
And what's your typical sign-off message to your audience? Do you have like a go-to catchphrase?
I don't know if I stole this or not. So I really want to put like an asterisk here to say like, I don't know if I stole this or not. And maybe it's Milosh the Medic's saying, and I loved it so much. It just stuck in my head.
We love Milosh, yeah.
Be happy, be healthy, be safe. And I think he said that, and it forever has just been in my head of like, I end a stream, I say that. Right? I leave something, I say that. Be happy, be healthy, be safe, guys. Like, I love that. So if that is from Milosh, thank you. I love it.
It's a good positive sign off.
I love it. Yeah.
Okay. So now I want to wrap this up. We're going to talk about advice for the next generation, because there's a lot of people that I think got into this with, esports has changed so much. And when people got into it, it was a different beast entirely.
Yes.
The way to get into it was different. The way to succeed in it was different. And the opportunities were different.
Yeah.
So right now, especially as far as young women who want to get into esports, people in the LGBTQ plus community who want to be involved in esports, what advice do you have for pursuing this career in 2025?
This is a twofold answer because I want to give it a little bit of reality check as well. When I joined, the spaces were open. There are now talent groups that are rigid. We're talking almost unbreakable to get into that tier 1 echelon. And I want people to kind of be realistic about it because it took years of finding who they wanted and how they wanted it and putting those people in place. You look at CS, there's about 7 or 8 talent that if they're not at an event, it would be strange, right? So that is flowing into other games as the longevity of those esports ecosystems exist. And I want lots of people to be part of those ecosystems, but you need a lot of your own funds because you're going to be working either volunteer or on the most abysmal of pays in tier 3 and tier 2 ecosystems to prove yourself, to try and get a taste or an opportunity in the tier 1, which does not guarantee you a full-time contract or even throughout the series or stages or whatever that esport runs. So it sounds like I'm being really negative about it, but because I've seen the reality of what's happening to a lot of talent recently, they're spending years in tier 2 making pennies and they're having to work 2-3 other jobs or whatever it is to try and keep up this dream of theirs. And I think what I most, and in fact, I spoke to another Siege talent here at this event. This is his first ever event. And I pulled him aside and I said, there's 3 things you need to do. 1, you've already got some good feedback from the community about your cast. That's great. That means that people like what you're doing and you have talent for this. So that's really important. Number 2, go get VOD reviewed. And they said, yeah, I'm going to go to a couple. I said, not your friends. Never your friends.
Yeah.
Never ever do you get VOD reviews from people in your own tier level, nor do you get it from your friends. That is the worst mistake you can make. You can sit with them and maybe they'll give you some honest things, but a true VOD review goes to a award-winning or a tier 1 analyst somewhere, somehow, and they will give you a sheet back. Pay them as well. Please let me know your rate for an hour of watching my VOD. Give me the feedback. I let 2 different esports worth of talent rip me apart. I sent through VODs. I said, I want you to be as mean as possible. I want you to like as if like this had to be so perfect. You just nail it down to that. And I did everything they said, and then I won an award. It turns out it works, right? So get your feedback, work on it, Make yourself better, because I promise you the people who are making the decisions at the top are going to see 10 seconds of your reel. Make it the best 10 seconds they've ever seen in their entire life. I promise you this, they don't care about your whole desks. They don't have time, but they will care if they see that 10 seconds and say, that will make our 10 shows coming up look better. So I really have to implore to people, it's a tough nut to crack now in 2025. Tier 1 talent work is very hard to get into, very, very hard. So whatever reel you put together, make it look like you must be hired or they're missing out. And keep putting in those times with the lower echelons of their esports so that they can't ignore you and that you are already knocking on the door ready to step up into that position. So, and for women, maybe don't take my approach of forcing the issue on Twitter, but do reach out and say, hey, I've noticed a lack of diversity on whatever broadcast. I would love to fill it. If there's ever an opportunity, please find my reel attached. You don't need agents for this, guys. You just need professionalism. So please reach out.
That is insanely good advice.
Hopefully.
Across the board.
Hopefully.
I mean, so much of it is transferable to the entertainment industry as a whole,
Yes.
too.
Yes.
That's great. Thank you so much, Jess.
Thank you.
Thank you for the advice. Thank you for being awesome. Good luck with criminology, I suppose.
You'll see it on Twitter. If I'm allowed to upload anything
I'll
and I'm not under a secret clearance, I will be banging the photos out. Don't worry.
Great. All right. Well, let people know where they can find you, what you're up to.
You can find me mostly on Twitch. I stream for PSG Talon full time now when I'm not doing talent work and whatnot. So you can find me twitch.tv/JessGOAT. And then I ramble and yap and post really cool memes on x.com/JessGOAT. So there's my 2 platforms. And I work from home. I look after a cat pretty well. And that's it.
What's the cat's name?
My cat's name is Nyanya.
That's a good one.
Thank you for not judging. I didn't name her. My partner named her. So yeah, Nyanya. It doesn't mean anything. Don't ask.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for watching Origins with the Esports Awards. Be sure to follow, like, subscribe, and check back esportsawards.com for more information about our next broadcast and everywhere else you can find information about the Esports Awards. Thank you for watching.